Recon.
Oh, a swap.
Oh,
Oh no, but a swap followed by a light bomb.
Here. 4-man mosh pit followed by Entomb. Oh no!
Oh, a huge light bomb coming in on the Genji, and that's a 5-man light bomb. They're gonna follow up, and they're gonna get 1, 2, 3 kills.
And it's gonna be everybody dying. Oh my God! When does this happen? Everybody's dead.
Satsuki looking for that damage, finds him on the Diablo. Diablo forced it back out as their health drops low. The Immortal now is at 25%.
Back down, on the Greymane, gonna be the first to fall. But is it ETC? No, that's Malthael up there. A triple.
The Leyline used in the back, catching 3 people on top. That followed up by the APOC and the Lurking On. Catching 2, but this time On is going to be the first one.
Wow, did you see that mosh pit? 4-man mosh pit while on a conveyor belt. That was like a regular sushi.
There's the lead, catches him in the mud pit. Time trap does pop. Mosh pit goes out. Fubu's still in trouble. Pops to stay a while and listen, but it's not going to matter.
Here comes the bloodlust on the backside, but the duo gets under and then stunned. Oh my goodness! The combo!
Getting shrunk down, ETC getting killed. He becomes dog food for the Greymane.
I didn't think they had a chance. I thought it was all over. We said all or nothing, and they got absolutely everything.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series. I'm Arrow. I am your host for this very last-minute pickup here of a Division A-East matchup between Cho'Gall's Angels and Midnight of Mummies. Normally, I would go through things like bans, status, all that stuff. We're going to get right into it, though, because the teams are already in the draft. So here we go, right into game number 1 on the draft. And we're already halfway through it, right? We've got Hanzo and Brightwing banned out by Midnight of Mummies. Johanna and Junkrat banned out by Cho'Gall's Angels. Just to get things started here. So yeah, we'll cover what the map bans are in a minute while the game is loading. But do me a favor, if you're out there watching, just let me know if the sound is good. Can you hear the game? Can you hear me? Is either too loud or too soft, what have you? Just want to make sure that we're all good as far as that's concerned, because I quite literally just picked this up in the last few minutes. So I did a very short check of everything to make sure. All right, so we've got Falstad and Dahaka, a couple of globals outside for Midnight. We're going to call them the Mummies and the Angels is what we're going to go with tonight. Welcome, Tazakog. Thank you for joining us tonight. Gonna get our third ban here. Gonna be Stukov coming out from Cho'Gall's Angels. Go Junk and Stukov. Okay, just writing these down so I remember later. It's gonna be a little hectic during our first few minutes here of the stream as I get everything caught up. Thank you, appreciate that. Zargum, Zargum maybe. Appreciate you letting me know. We got Rhaegar coming out along with Diablo. So let's kind of look at what we've got. Cursed Hollow. There's a lot for Diablo to charge into a wall. Mom. Okay, there we go. That makes sense. So a lot of places for Diablo to charge into. Rhaegar with either Ancestral into a very heavy health pool of Diablo, or could be a Bloodlust with like an auto attack Dahaka. And Falstad could do a lot of damage with auto attacks, especially going into the Garrosh. You got Tychus over there with the Garrosh, so Tychus is going to be able to shred Diablo. Vala, a lot of damage, again, potentially into that Diablo, so Vala is going to have to be a little bit careful of positioning to make sure that she doesn't get caught and then flipped by Diablo. However, Durkadurk there on the Garrosh should be able to help prevent at least some of that, because you Diablo shadow charging into a Garrosh oftentimes can lead to a quick flip, and you don't want to get flipped when you're playing into that Garrosh with a Tychus on the enemy team. So a little bit of defensive play could keep that Vala nice and safe. So all right, just double checking, making sure Tazak Og OG There you go. All right. Kazakh OG. Makes sense. Well, there are our teams. So definitely going to provide a little bit of global value for the Angels, as well as some point control in a way for those tributes to slow down the potential for any of that. Let's take a quick peek at our maps here. These were the map bans while we wait for the game to load here. Midnight of Mummies, they picked the map of Cursed Hollow, and they banned out Alterac and Volskaya. Cho'Gall's Angels banned out the Battlefield of Eternity and Braxis. So top row completely out of it here with this selection of Cursed Hollow. Taking a look at the standings after week 1, so Cho'Gall's Angels did not get any points last week. Whether that's because they had a bye or not, I don't know. Midnight Mummies looks like they did play, and they got 1 point out of that. So there you go. Drippy the Clown, welcome, and thank you for the lurk. Gonna get into game number 1. Let's get our teams introduced. On the left, we've got Cho'Gall's Angels. We've got Dirk. Did they change? They sure did. Dirk's, yeah, ignore the pop-ups because that's going to be wrong. Dirk is on Tychus, and Smart Killer there is on Garrosh, which means that Vala is being played by somebody else as well. Who's playing Vala? Snarf? Yeah, Snarfungus there on the Vala. And we got Traxx playing the Deathwing. And who am I missing? Toasty Buns there on the Anduin. Over here to the right, we've got Midnight of Mummies. It's going to be Shui playing the Falstad. Gonna get a quick pause on the game is what we're gonna get. Just from the game, not the action there. Bricky playing the Diablo. We got Huck It on Rhaegar. Boris Shoes there on Ragnaros, and Andrew on Dahaka. All right, so now that we've gotten the quick game pause out of the way there, am I on the right scene? Yes, I am. Pop-ups didn't seem to be loading. Now we got that quick game pause out of the way. That usually happens like one time when combat happens. Andrew's gonna get thrown back, so could be a quick gank, but Smart Killer getting very low. Got a quick shield out of Anduin there with his level 1 talent. That is a power word shield at level 1? It sure is. So being able to get that extra shield onto Garrosh, as it looks like Shui's gonna head over along with Rhaegar to start the night camp. As Vala, Snarfungus here, going to be on the Giants for Cho'Gall's Angels. So a very macro-heavy team here from Midnight of Mummies, right? They've got the Dahaka Global, the Ragnaros, presumably Lava Wave, but could be Sulfura Smash, and then Falstad. So you've got a lot of mobility around the map that allows them to pick up the XP. Let's see, is it C? Yeah, there we go. And keep the pressure on while the tributes are spawning. Whereas from Cho'Gall's Angels, we've got a very team fight heavy comp. They want to get those flips just like that, throwing back the heroes, getting them stunned, and getting themselves a quick kill. And now there's no Ragnaros to gather all of this XP in this bottom lane. But there is a Diablo, so he'll be able to cover for at least a moment. Welcome, Uru and Masked Introvert. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. Falstad just getting a little swift barrel roll out of danger there, as Smart Killer was on the hunt, looking for a little, maybe some chicken wing action going on there. Level 4s here for both teams, as the first tribute of the game coming up here in the top. Now, important to note, Ragnaros cannot join this fight quickly, but Deathwing also can't really join it quickly, but can certainly get across the map. Still takes 8 or so seconds before Deathwing can land, and Deathwing has to be away from everything for 5 seconds before he can fly up into the air. So Traxx is going to have to keep an eye on that, but both of them are going to be down here dealing with that siege camp, one trying to pressure, the other trying to defend. And in the mid lane, we see both Diablo and Rhaegar, as well as Vala, doing kind of the same thing in the middle. And right now, just a little bit of a delay there as the Dahaka gets thrown in, gets caught by the Chastise, so does get rooted. The charge out onto the Garrosh, but does not want to follow up on that. Looks like Deathwing is getting ready to head out here soon, as Ragnaros is also. Now, Deathwing's low on health, so gonna have to be up there for quite some time to regenerate that health. And they don't have Skyfall level 7 to provide those meteors. A miss there on the drag from Andrew. Is going to try to channel, but not going to be able to make it. The grenade interrupt. Deathwing sitting about 3/4 health now, so could join fairly soon, as they will have all of their armor plates back. And coming right into the heroes with that level 7, the meteors, that'll reduce that cooldown. Big stun coming out, and the fire breath going to help them secure the kill onto that Rhaegar. So 4 heroes left, but they call to get out of dodge there. They don't want to continue into that fight. A lot of potential sustain in the armor with the Garrosh. And of course, also that Deathwing has a significant amount of armor. But as I mentioned, Falstad and Dahaka both quickly getting to those other lanes and gathering up as much XP as they can. Dahaka being down in that bottom lane gives them a little bit of an advantage too, because they can push up the lane, maybe get a little bit of structure damage, while Garrosh making his way slowly down to the bottom of the map here. And here comes that second tribute, all the way down in the bottom this time. So far extremes here in the map for the tributes. This one's slightly on the side of the red team. One up above, pretty much dead center between both sides, but this one's slightly favorable toward the red team. Ragnaros and Deathwing still up in the top, and just like we saw at the beginning there of that last one, having to deal with that siege camp, except the roles reversed. Ragnaros having to defend as Deathwing going to try to pressure, and instead Deathwing's going to come up into the air and try to join in here. Shadow charge in from the Diablo, gets flipped away, stun. Cleanse coming out as well, and Earthbind totem there put down to slow the advance of the enemy team. Deathwing coming anytime now. There it is, right on top of Bricky, and Falstad kind of isolated here, is going to try to get away, gets stunned by Deathwing, gets caught by the conflagration. I think that's what that is. Molten lava. I don't know. What is that ability, Traxx? Let's take a look. That's going to be another tribute going over to the blue team, the Cho'Gall's Angels, and that is the lava burst. There we go. And flag is the talent at 16. Quick catch looking for that Dahaka. And level 10s here now for Cho'Gall's Angels. They're going to catch the charge flip onto Vala. Is there enough damage? Not quite. Rhaegar, Diablo just not able to put out enough to get the Vala killed there, as level 10 available now for both teams. So taking a look here, pretty much everything that I would expect to have seen from really both teams, right? We've got the standard staples of the Mighty Gust. You've got that lava wave for that XP, and of course the pressure value as well. Both teams getting their night camps in the middle, so those will meet right here. Very slight advantage, I guess, to the red team because they still have their tower up there. So because they're going to meet so close to the middle, I don't know that there's a whole lot that will make a difference here, but it will be pressed forward into the blue space. Both teams are going to start working on their bosses. Now, Traxx kind of thinking, I got Bellowing Roar. Do I go into this? But then realizing I'm also at half health. So maybe not. So that's going to be bosses on just the boss on the red side. Blue side still hasn't completed their boss. Apocalypse is coming out, is just going to zone them out a bit, trying to stall out the tribute, which they do get the stall, and the grab here. Unstoppable used on Garrosh, and he's going to get the leap of faith with 40 health. Traxx coming down, very low health though, is going to go down, but Dahaka's going to take one for the team as well. Smork getting low again, the flip, not I think where Diablo was looking for it, and Ragnaros is going to fall, and Diablo as well. They could not secure the kill out onto Smork Killer, and Falstad also is going to get caught. The throw from Smork getting that Tychus over there, and the barrel roll just not quite far enough to get over that wall, and that's going to be 4 kills in favor of the blue. Make it 5? Is it a 5th? There you go. Well, blue team has the bottom lane pressure, and it is mounting heavily. We've got a nearly full boss because that was timed right with the curse. Up on top, red is going to get that top fort, but their boss will fall at the line. Now, this is an unfortunate place for Garrosh, but also for Rag. Getting Garrosh over the wall was like great because it isolated Garrosh, but there wasn't really that much damage to be able to take him down. And then Garrosh, with that wrecking ball at level 1, was able to throw Ragnaros over the wall, ultimately getting the kill for the blue team. And because of that kill, they secure 1 keep, maybe even a 2nd keep, as Andrew gets thrown away here, trying to get away with the Dahaka. Has that stealth coming out of Burrow. Isolation thrown out onto the Tychus, but Tychus is going to get that unstoppable and thrown out. And Falstad goes diving in, does get the Mighty Gust. Maybe a little risky play there as he gets thrown the Ancestral just in time, but doesn't matter. Falstad gets taken out while completing that quest, and a big taunt coming out onto 2 as they get a triple kill out of that play. And we see the pings calling for just skip the keep. We don't need the keep. Let's go for the core. 20 seconds until most of the Midnight of Mummies are back on the game here. We'll see how much value can Ragnaros and Dahaka get. Ragnaros going to get thrown and stunned, but really putting the damage on the core instead of the heroes, and that's generally what you want to do. Tychus is going to get taken out. So far, 1 down. Could be make it 2. Garrosh is going to make it 3. Deathwing is going to be able to get away. So 3 heroes down on the side of Cho'Gall's Angels. A strong defense coming out from Midnight Mummies, being able to secure those 3 kills, but they do lose 45% of their core, and that's not coming back. A very strong first curse coming out from Cho'Gall's Angels, getting 2 forts thanks to the boss, a 3rd structure down in the form of this mid lane keep. Ultimately, mid lane, if you're gonna lose a keep, arguably mid lane's probably the best one to go down, because you don't have bosses in the mid lane. I mean, you don't want to lose any of them, of course, but if you're going to lose one, it's the least bad. The Duke, pretty sure Anduin had no mana for anything, or they win there. Yeah, I mean, they were definitely tapped on that. The resources were limited. Hey, Thumang, good to see you, buddy. Just a reminder for anybody who is not used to watching the Nexus Gaming Series cast, there is a 30-second delay during live streams. So basically just kind of as a anti-cheating measure. So yeah, so I'm 30 seconds behind you. Kind of, in a way. Or maybe you're 30 seconds behind me. That's really more likely. All right, Bruiser Camp's picked up Cho'Gall's Angels first. We'll have Midnight of Mummies coming in with theirs here soon. And we've got level 16 talents for both sides. So this is really where Midnight of Mummies has to start considering making plays, because at level 20 things get maybe a little bit more challenging for them when you've got that double toss from Garrosh. The big red button for Tychus. And I mean, do we see Arrival of a God? I imagine we do, out of the Deathwing. So Midnight of Mummies have to kind of look at this as a clock. They don't, and it may be difficult for them to get the tributes before level 20. They're down nearly a full level as well. Meanwhile, Cho'Gall's Angels looking to keep the gas on. They can be a little bit conservative because they've got that pressure in the mid lane. Big Mighty Gust there to try to stall out the stall, ultimately. Stun going out, going to get the Light Bomb hit only onto the Diablo, and Diablo's going to get that Ancestral Smart Killer's falling very low. Is going to throw out the Dahaka, but he's going to be able to make it out. The Fear, however, onto Rhaegar's got Rhaegar taken out. Could not do anything about that as Diablo's going to fall to the Vault, and there's the toss. Ally throw on Tychus to get the kill onto Falstad, and it looks like they're hunting for the Dahaka. I don't think they can quite catch up. Well, maybe Vala can. He's got that extra movement speed, so Dahaka trying to get away, but gonna get sniped at one last shot, and it's just Diablo and Ragnaros, the big fire boys, against the full squad of Cho'Gall's Angels. Ragnaros is gonna get caught and taken out of the Molten Core, so cannot get the value of being a raid boss, and it looks like this is gonna be game number 1 going over to Cho'Gall's Angels. Oh, I don't think I fixed this one. Nope, I didn't. That's easy enough to fix. Lulu is not with me tonight, so we'll just go ahead and take her off the screen. All right, there are your statistics from game number 1. 17 kills to 4. Handily in favor of Cho'Gall's Angels. And let's go ahead and give them their point as well. This is a best of 3 series, so if Cho'Gall's Angels wins this next one, that's it. We're done. Quick run for the night. Take a look at those talents. We didn't get to the level 20 talents, so we didn't really get to see what everybody was looking at for those. But we talked a little bit about what maybe Cho'Gall's Angels were looking for, and obviously level 20s are strong for just about every hero. So if you get something like a wind tunnel for Shui on Falstad there, a well-placed wind tunnel can turn around and end a game. The double ancestral from Rhaegar could have been really significant there. That could have changed that bottom tribute play, giving Diablo a second and then a third health bar, really. So a lot of potential value there that we could have seen at level 20, but just couldn't quite get there. Couldn't make it. Cho'Gall's Angels had such a strong lead right out of the gate there that there wasn't much that Midnight Mummies could do. So we are going to get our second game here. Looks like we're going to go to Towers of Doom. And Towers of Doom was the selection of our blue team. It looks like the red team was looking for first pick, the Midnight Mummies. On first pick, thanks to their loss, they get to choose that. And I'm going to go ahead and write down the heroes that we had so I don't forget that later. How's everybody doing tonight? We're halfway through the weekend. Got to play a little D&D earlier today, and I mean, at least for me, I got to DM that, so it was fun. My players had the fun and exciting experience of getting absolutely wrecked by a adamantine golem. And that was won by the red. Here we go, Towers of Doom. So Towers of Doom is a different map from what we just saw in some pretty significant ways. Gonna see some potentially different heroes. Could see some of those same heroes though. It would not surprise me to see Traxxas playing the Deathwing on this map, getting that global. Falstad and Dahaka could be very viable. Less likely to see Ragnaros here, but not impossible. Garrosh and Diablo, both heroes that we could see on Towers of Doom as well. But we're not going to see Garrosh. Garrosh was taken out. Hey, Max, good to see you, buddy. And no Johanna. So Joe was banned out on the last game as well. We also saw the Junkrat banned out. Now, Mummies, they banned out Hanzo and Brightwing, and they were the second pick that game. So Hanzo's going to go away as well. Not really a big surprise. I mean, Hanzo can stall out the points on this, can get a lot of value from his scattered arrows, his serrated arrows, rather. With some car issues, but have some new tools on the way to hopefully resolve that. Plenty of EQ in the meantime. Is that EQ like OG EQ? Or is it EQ2 or like I think they had some special servers as well, like private servers or something. Gonna see Vala this time for Shui instead of that Falstad, and it's gonna be Sylvanas and Brightwing. And Sylvanas I love Sylvanas. Sylvanas is a really strong hero on Towers of Doom. Because you want these towers under your control. So being able to shut them down, empowering the mercs potentially too, means that the pumpkin sappers can pretty much like just take out a tower almost entirely by themselves. Gonna get Chromie and Zool. So Zool giving the potential for a very fast double soak, kind of in a way working similarly to Sylvanas, being able to push those lanes very hard, except Zool can kind of do it in 2 lanes. So we'll have to see what we get for counter pressure in that off lane from Cho'Gall's Angels. And there are a few different options that can work. I mean, Leoric can do pretty decently. Mephisto can do kind of okay, and Sonya can do a little bit less okay, but somewhat okay. Sometimes even Rexar, it seems like, can do pretty decently there. So we'll see how that builds out. And then Chromie's just an absolute menace here. Slowing Sands makes it very difficult to engage or disengage into these kind of narrow control points where the altars are. And then you've got just the amount of damage that she can do on top of that. Stalling out control points from a very long distance. And then you've got here Diablo and Cassia. So Cassia's got a little bit shorter of a range. Are they going to change on me again? They're going to change on me again, aren't they? We'll see. All right, so Varian and Stukov. So, okay. So Varian taunts into Stukov Silence and Chromie Bombs could be pretty brutal. And we're going to get Murky. Not a big surprise. I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to invoke the Murky, but Traxix plays a lot of Murky and is a very good Murky player. So not a surprise to see that. And Murky can do pretty decently with the double soaking as well. Thing on Mischief, it's a TLP server and the loot drops are sort of randomized. Gotcha. Okay, let's just make sure everybody's on the right heroes here. Stukov, get on Zool. Yes, we are all set there. So hopefully, I don't think I even saw the pop-ups on the last round, so hopefully the pop-ups work on this one. I used to play EverQuest. It was the first game that I got into online. Played a Ixar monk. And it was a lot of fun. All right, let's get our teams introduced. We'll start with the red team this time, and there are the pop-ups. So on the red team for Midnight of Mummies, we've got Andrew playing the Stukov, Bricky on the Varian, Shui going to be playing the Vala, Puckett on the Zool, and Boris Shoes on Chromie. And over to the left for Cho'Gall's Angels, we've got Toasty Buns on the Toasty Buns on the Brightwing. We got Dirk on Diablo. We've got Snarfungus playing Sylvanas, Smort Killer there, gonna be on the Cassia, and as mentioned early, Traxix on the Murky. All right, so Varian's gonna become a tank eventually. At the start of the game, though, he's really just a limited hero, so a little bit more difficult for the red team. Vala, though, gonna be caught and flipped there, taking quite a bit of damage, but early in the game, sometimes it can be difficult to get that damage exactly where you want. Minions can get in the way, so even though Vala's got a small health pool, able to make it out alive there. And of course, Bricky on the Varian helping out with the slows. Doesn't have that taunt yet, so can't lock down enemy heroes until level 4. So we're going to see a lot of this rotation. We're going to see Zool coming down, clearing a wave. We're going to see Murky doing the same thing up top. And Murky, well, we got Bricky getting a little bit low here, but the silence keeping Varian alive. So, Traxix looking to clear these lanes and get stacks of a fishy deal. That's a bribe that allows for Murky to steal away camps, gather them quickly. Later in the game, that can become extremely advantageous, allowing Traxix to swiftly come down into the red team's siege camp, pick that up, and provide pressure. This bottom lane is critical to success, and we'll come back to that. Dirk gonna charge in on Varian, flip Cassia with the fend, and still no level 4 there for Varian. So Varian just having to wait, has to play fairly defensively because doesn't have the health pool of the tank, which he just got there now, and limited defensive resources. The parry that he gets only works against those auto attacks, so that certainly helps against a Cassia and a Sylvanas, but it doesn't help against the rest of their damage, the lightning javelins and all that stuff that Cassie can do. And we see the danger pings coming out as the time traps providing a lot of value there. But Bricky, completely isolated, is going to get caught, and that's going to be first blood going over to Cho'Gall's Angels. And it just goes to show, like, even if you're the tank, you have to be really careful, as when you get caught out like that, they'll find you and they will murder you. Good vault away there by Shui, and really, I think it was Boris there providing the cover fire, the Dragon's Breath bombs that allowed Vala to escape, because one more set of shots there and Vala doesn't make it out. Ricky's going to try to get the stall, does get that stall out onto the Diablo. Murky and Zool should be able to both get top, so we'll see 4 points going in either direction there as Varian charging in. Silence is underneath there. Taunt onto Diablo, so Diablo is remaining in that silence, but Bricky's the one taking a ton of damage. And we're going to see Midnight of Mummies pull back, but Zool is now here, so Murky up in the top lane trying to keep the pressure going and continue to get those stacks for the bribe. A big poly there onto Varian, and the damage coming out from Sylvanas. They're not going to be able to keep Varian alive, but they do get the points, and you know, there's something to be said about that, right? Those are points that come off of the core. You cannot get them back. So trading a hero for 4 points, probably worth it. Level 7 here for Cho'Gall's Angels. And let's check in on Murky. How is Murky doing on stacks? Well, they've got 3. And as you can see, they're coming right here and doing exactly as I said, stealing away that camp quickly. Now, they knew that Murky was there because of the time trap, but Murky didn't know that that was there. Didn't really matter. They were able to pick it up, get the siege camp coming in, and Murky's trying to do everything possible to defend, but the combination of Diablo flipping along with Toasty Buns there, polymorphing them, really means that you've got several seconds of time before you can do anything with your character. Zool trying to get that burst of damage there onto Murky. And you see, you may have seen there the circle surrounding Zool, and that's coming from this level 1 ability here, Backlash. So it's not going to do much against Murky, but when you start seeing these greater team fights where where Zool is up there and face with Diablo, for example, 12% of Diablo's health pool is quite significant. Now, Diablo is lurking around looking for a target. Zool's going to come down, and this is interesting timing. We've got 10 seconds until the altars, and they're both up top. So red team's going to leave first. Murky, I think, is going to try to go for this. I don't know that they... Yeah, okay, I was going to say, I don't know that they get it. But, you know what? What they do get is bottom lane fort. So this is an interesting trade. So 7 points... but getting the bottom fort and level 10s, I think, like, the numbers, the core health doesn't seem like it's in favor of blue, but I think the game is in favor of blue right now. And Diablo was hunting. If Stukov wasn't quite so far away, I think that Diablo would have gone right in looking for that Stukov. We're going to get Octo Grab out of Murky, so look for those 4-second stuns into Oblivion. There's no cleanse on the side of the Mummies. Kind of a cleanse for Brightwing there with her Soothing Mist. So level 10 here, so not a ton gained out of that time, that advantage time for Cho'Gall's Angels. But they are defending this quite well. There's the mind control from Sylvanas. Did not land, although looking for the Vala. Did get a little bit of damage out there, not a ton. And Murky able to secure the kill onto Zool. Track 6, I'm sorry I missed that for you there. A quick Valkyrie pulling the Varian in, but not able to secure that kill. The flailing swipes from Stukov able to push the rest of the team back, so that Varian was a-okay. Now this is the reason why this bottom lane tower is so important. You've got 3 sappers coming in. That's 3 points that could come off of the red team's core. In addition, the only place red can come in is right through here. They cannot get to either of these altars, really. So we're going to see Brightwing getting the bottom altar nice and comfortably. And if necessary, she can zip in right on top of one of the players here. Doesn't even really need to. You can kind of see just hanging out, waiting for somebody to need help. There's the 3 points here. Huckett not able to defend that, so that's 1 point going through. And Sylvanas is going to keep the pressure up to get the other 2. We've got Murky coming in, has the Octo Grab, and Vala's going to get absolutely deleted. Dirk going to get brought very low, but Phase Shift is going to keep Diablo quite healthy, as Stukov going to be the next to fall. And you know what? They just lost a Murky for it. And Murky's up where he wants to be, right up in the top lane, gathering all of that XP as they get 5 more shots. So 10 shots there. Mind Control going out onto Zool under the tower. And that is a huge play there by Snarfungus, getting that Mind Control and helping to eliminate the solo laner there, making it so that Murky is completely unopposed. And ultimately, Murky doing what Zool would really like to be doing at this stage of the game, is providing additional pressure in these other lanes, keeping that lane pushed up, pushing all the way into these towers, getting the damage. We've got one tower nearly fallen here, and the upper of the 2 taking some damage. Mid lane has already downed 1 tower, trying to work on that second one as the minions getting there. And meanwhile, the rest of the mummies still trying to take back their bottom fort, as Diablo's going to get taunted and silenced. Big flip into the stun. Chromie going to get out of danger, though. And going to get the Valkyrie coming in onto Stukov is who got pulled in there. Vala being just absolutely destroyed there in all of the chaos. Diablo going deep under the towers is going to get taunted. May just fall. Toasty Bun's getting real low too. And that's actually a big play. If they can make anything else happen out of that, that would have been huge. But 3 more sappers going to get to the line here, and 3 more just spawning off to the left on your screen. 1 made it through, and Varian, given his life, trying to prevent the other 2, was able to take out 1 of them, so only 2 of them made it through. I think. Zool gonna put pressure in on that top fort. We'll see how this one turns out. It's underneath the tower, so Zool's taking that additional armor reduction, because he did hit the Murky. And 5 more points off of the red core. So it was 25 to 36 earlier, and now it's 25 to 16. So some really significant value coming out from the blue team, getting that XP lead early and ultimately taking this bottom fort and being able to control it, as the minions have not been able to flip that back. In fact, it's still at half health, and another set of Pumpkin Sappers could be making their way up to the line of the death zone here. Gonna get the taunt onto Diablo, the silence follow-up, but there's once again the APOC with the stun and the Valkyrie, and Vala's taken out once again. Stukov a little bit late on that flailing swipe, so could not prevent that death onto Vala. I imagine that may have even been queued up while in the stun, so it just came out right after the stun there. Mind Control out onto Varian. He's going to get pulled in, blinded, and gone. Even with the shield wall, just not enough. 1.5 seconds or so of protection. Well, it turns out it doesn't prevent all of the damage that's happening there. And I do want to point out here, so Chromie took a talent that you don't see very often, which is this here and there, allowing Chromie to teleport from wherever she is and swap places with one of her little minions here, right? One of these ghost echoes. Along with that level 1 talent here, once again the first time, which gives her not just 1 but 2 of those echoes. That gives Chromie some mobility and is really helpful for when Diablo's charging in. Well, we've got that Octo Grab again, and that's going to be Stukov this time, but can be really helpful for the Valkyrie that we saw earlier, pulling people in, maybe even the Mind Control, possibly Diablo's charge and flip. So giving a little bit of flexibility there in the positioning. Big stall out onto Varian. 8 points left. This right here is the last altar required for the blue team to finish the game. They also have other ways, but there goes the 3 points. They were able to channel it. So still alive are the Mummies. 22-3 on the score. But here's the next battle zone is over this boss, and we see it's at half health as Vala going in, trying to stall things out, but gets caught and removed from the game, potentially for the rest of the game. There's Octograb out onto Zool, maybe? I think. And that's it. We see Andrew over there was kind of debating on whether or not he should go in with the flailing swipes, maybe, but everybody's kind of spread out. It is going to get the flailing swipe, but Murky's going to stay on the point with the bubble, and that's going to be at 4 shots going on to the core, and that's going to be game number 2 in favor of Cho'Gall's Angels. All right, taking a look at our stats here once again. A challenging game for the Mummies. A little bit of difficulty there going into the Deathwing melting, falling on their face along with Garrosh in game number 1. And then the combination of the stuns, either from Murky or Diablo, along with the mind control and the the Valkyrie, right? Like a lot of potential challenges that they had to face there, and it was just too much for the low health bars there of Midnight of Mummies. So we're gonna do a quick interview, so let me get into the right place for that. Let's see. And I need to fix one thing. Oh, I didn't mean to switch to that yet, but that's okay. We'll just do that anyways. And let me make sure the audio is good here. Mine is, and the game sounds on. Okay. Alrighty, I am here and I'm joined by Track6. And hold on one second. I do have that. I forgot to fix that one. Let me switch that one. And now they can hear you. Welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for, I do want to just start by saying thanks for being patient at the beginning. It takes, obviously, you've kind of done some of this in the past. So, it takes a little bit to set things up. And so I appreciate that we got to do this tonight.
Yeah, thanks for booping us and let us know that you could cast. We appreciate it.
Sure. So, listen, that was an exciting set for you guys. How's the team feeling after that? Is there, any hooping and hollering or partying going on in the background?
Yeah, it feels really good. We had, we had a sub this week. I wanted to say thanks to Snarth for subbing in, and we're still trying to figure our roster out. So the fact that we're still not a full 5 set and we still were able to pull out a win, we're feeling very confident.
Sure. Well, and I mentioned when I got in the lobby, a lot of names that I recognize here, both in the Nexus Gaming Series and in other outside events. And so it's always great to see familiar names that you have a little bit of experience casting. You maybe know a few things. I didn't give away to anybody in chat about the Murky coming. I expected it, but I didn't want to give anything away. But so let's talk about this. So you have a 4 squad roster. You bring in Snarf. How does that build up for your drafts and everything? How much does that change what you're trying to do when you're setting up these drafts for game number 1 and game number 2? Or does it? Because you've clearly had experience playing with Snarfungus.
Yeah, I personally have played with Snarf before, so I kind of already know her roster, and her roster kind of complements our other DPS players. So she just kind of fit in, and it didn't really change up anything. Yeah, we're still trying to figure some things out, but she kind of fits what we're looking for as a player. If she didn't already have a team, I'd really try to convince her just to join our team. But yeah, I think our drafting this week went pretty smoothly.
Sure. So Cursed Hollow was their pick, and you had an early Deathwing pick. So how does that affect things when you're picking that early? I think it was the 2nd or 3rd pick. I think you were in the second half of the upper part of the draft there. and obviously Deathwing's a hero that you're very comfortable on. So is there anything like, do you care that you pick it early? Does it change much about your draft later if they start to build into like, how do we counter Deathwing? Was there any, thought process specifically because they were globals? Like, tell me a little bit about how you built around that.
Yeah, I honestly picked it early because they went double global, and I was concerned that they were going to ban it in the next phase, and then we would have been stuck without any globals. So that's why I picked it early. But honestly, when I'm playing Deathwing, I'm not too concerned about. There are no DPS that I'm very concerned about. There's a couple of off lanes that I don't really like playing against, but they already had Dahaka, and I didn't envision them choosing one of the heroes I didn't want to play into. So it ended up working out well that they picked their offlaner early, and that didn't really scare me to pick my offlane early.
Sure. And you could tell there was some communication, like when you were up there at that top boss and the rest of your team is starting the bottom boss. I think Smork was playing Garrosh that game and went up to gather the tribute. And you're kind of on an island there, and I could see in your mind going, do I go in with this fear? No, I got to get out of here, right? And then ultimately you get down there to get the kills on them over your own boss. How much of that communication like is going on with your team to set up all of those things, or how much of that just kind of instinctual? And anything else you want to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody said, I think they're doing their boss. I just said, okay, I'll check it. And then when I found it, I did. It did cross my mind. Like, could they kill me if I go in there? And then, But, with the Haka's Burrow, I decided that would have been suicidal. And also, Dirk is our shot caller, and he was like, Brandy, don't die up there, Brandy. And I was like, all right, fine. Only one of us can be suicidal, fine. And then it was called for Smork to stall them while we finished the boss out. So there was the communication tonight was really on point.
Well, and I think that the turning point for that specific play, because they got their boss early, they used the Apocalypse to stall out that tribute and kind of slowed down your guys' boss play, which of course you may or may not have even seen any of that. But the real difference there was when Smork gets brought down to 40 health, gets a leap of faith out of danger, and then comes back in a couple seconds later after you've now dropped meteors all over the entire team, and leads to like 3 or 4 deaths, which cascades into 2 forts, a keep, 45% off of the core, and then in the long run 5 minutes later ... core goes down. So that was such a well-coordinated play and timing by Smork and ultimately Toasty Buns, like with that play, with that leap of faith to keep things in your favor. And then of course, you just showing up and saying, I'm gonna carry the rest of this now.
Honestly, Smork and Toasty, they were on point that whole game, and Smork did a great job on Garrosh. There was some wibble-wobbling in the beginning about whether or not we were going to keep Dirk on Garrosh or switch Smork to it, and I think Smork did a great job. And this is Toasty's first week with us too, and she did really good at communicating. All of her heals and saves were really on point, so yes, I agree. I think that Smork and Toasty for that game was MVP.
Sure. It was really strong. So you get into game number 2. This was Towers of Doom. It was your guys' pick, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And of course, that gives us the Murky. So, I always like to play Zool on the Towers of Doom map. It's a fun play style for me. It gets a little bit difficult when you're dealing with Murky because of the immunity to roots and all that stuff. So when you're going up against whoever as a solo lane as a Murky, is there anything anybody can do to stop it? The Murky I'm talking about, not the Zool, because Zool's easy.
Yeah, I mean, in all reality, the biggest thing to like cuck a Murky is to kill his pufferfish. Like, if you want to stop Murky, you kill his, but if you're killing his pufferfish, he's just going to keep queuing and then bubble, and he's still getting his wave, and all the while now you're having to clean up their wave, and then he's just going to walk away. So honestly, I think Zool is Malthael is a pretty good pick into Murky. Zool is a pretty good pick into Murky because they can wave clear just as fast as him. The biggest thing is once it comes down to the 1v1, like, those 2 heroes specifically, I don't feel like are the best one. There's nothing that's really like a counter to Murky. It's just getting as much soak and being more impactful, like, than the Murky is with the team fights. That's honestly what it is. The only way I can only play Murky with my team because he's so situational, and you have to communicate when you're going down and when you're going to octo. And if there is no trust in the Murky, then the enemy offlaner is going to always be better because they're an actual hero.
Right. Well, and I really enjoyed the combination of play that you had, also Durkal and Diablo had, that sets up the long stun, and then you had Snarfungus with Mind Control, or you had Smork Killer with the Valkyrie, that basically just said, I want that hero and they're going to die every time.
Yeah, that was actually talked about during our draft about who was picking what alts and how we were going to do it. And it was really okay, well, we're just going to, I guess with this comp, we're just going to pick out one person and murder them and then move forward to the next person. So the four-man did a great job of executing the plan that they put into place, and it kind of fell into perfect harmony.
So one of the questions I like to ask everybody before we end the interview is, was there any particular play of the night that you wanted to make sure got highlighted? And I'm sorry that I missed your kill on Zool early in the game. But any particular play, it doesn't have to be something you did. It could be something your team did. It could be something the other team did. Just anything you were like, wow, that was a really outstanding play. And you can say no.
Yeah, no. There was a time that I have no idea how Smork survived in the very first kill on Dahaka in the very beginning of the game. They went top, and I'm like, everyone's like, well, Smork's gonna die, and he lived, and I have no idea. I literally panned away from bottom lane to watch, and I thought he was gonna die, and he didn't. I don't know if it was himself keeping himself alive or if it was Toasty, but that was a great kill, and the fact that he didn't die when the towers were trying to kill him was great.
I can tell you what it was, because I
what was it? Okay, what was it?
It was Power Word Shield from Anduin.
Okay, so good job, Toasty. Yeah. I really thought he was going to die, and it was going to be a pointless kill on Dahaka, and he didn't. So I say that was probably my most good job, guys, play of the game.
I think I even called it too. I was like, oh, okay, so they get the kill, but they lose Garrosh, and then suddenly he's got a shield, and I'm like, what? What is that? Who's got a shield? Nobody on this team has shields.
I had that exact same, and I was like, I don't play those heroes. I don't know how they work. So.
Yep. It's also possible he could have had a Bloodthirst on a minion, because I think there were some enemy minions right there as well. Toasty, I think, is in chat saying it was both. So
okay. It was a joint effort, Like I said, they were together the MVP that game. So
yeah. Cool. So any shout outs that you'd like to make?
Yeah, shout out to Snarf. Thank you again for subbing. I really appreciate it. I'm sure the team appreciates it. Shout out to you for casting. Always appreciate a cast. Shout out to the enemy team. Good games. Shout out to the other Cho'Gall teams in our Discord. So Cho'Gall and the Chocolate Factory and Cho'Gall Rescue Rangers. Shout out to them. And shout out to my husband, because nobody else joined me and he's supportive. So I'm going to shout out to him.
Aw. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me, and good job on the game, and don't forget to report your match.
Yeah, thanks for the cast. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
All right, so that is it for us. This was a quick stream, a little bit under an hour overall. Snarfungus, welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us this evening. So 2-0 in favor of Cho'Gall's Angels over Midnight of Mummies. So let's see if there's anybody else on doing some Nexus Gaming Series stuff here. Nexus Gaming Series. Go to the front page. It looks like there is. Yeah, absolutely. You guys are quite welcome. Shout out to Shui, who I told him to let me know if ever he needed a cast, and normally I'm not available at this time on a Saturday night, but I happen to be, so it worked out well. Was happy to cast my good buddy Shui, and of course, so many of you guys who I'm very familiar with seeing and casting in the past. So I'm glad that we could have this opportunity to play with each other and chat with each other. So we're gonna go ahead and head over to a division. I have no idea because it's not in the title. Bunker Fun Time Academy versus Gold Dragons. I'm guessing it's probably because it's Academy, so maybe like a Div D team, maybe Div E. So I think that's where we're going. It's being cast by Raka, the head caster of the Nexus Gaming series. So thanks everybody for being here tonight. I appreciate you stopping by and joining us for a couple of games of the Division A-East between Cho'Gall's Angels and Midnight of Mummies. Make sure you've hit the follow button so that you can get alerts anytime I'm doing other casts, which won't be super frequent, but I am going to try to get some in, maybe 1 or 2 a week, and I'm halfway considering doing some replay casting tomorrow. So you're definitely going to want to make sure you're following if you want to catch some more of that casting. So have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you again soon. Which one? Go to that one.